Wrong one. There we go. Welcome back, everybody, for another Tuesday night chit chat. It is October the 21st. Halloween is quickly approaching us, and I hope y'all have your costumes ready. So we kind of did a little Halloween theme going on back here. I know it's not till next week, but I like to get the jump on things early. So tonight we have some, it's concerning to me. Uh, may not be to you guys because you're not really involved in the DJI ecosystem, and I apologize. I do still have a cold. I am on cold medicine, so if I start to ramble, just punch me or something and get me back on track. Um, okay, so DJI has come out with a clone company called Extra Edge. Okay. There are some things that have prompted this, and I'm not sure I'm real happy about it. Well, you guys know I'm not happy about it because the launch date for the Osmo Action 6 is supposed to be Friday. Now they've said it was going to be July, and then they said September, and now it's October, but they have come up with an October 24th date to drop the Osmo 6. Well, if that will happen or not, we don't know. But they have started infiltrating the market with this. My eyes are just gonna water all night. It's annoying as at least it's not my nose, right? Um, when I get a cold, it lasts for a couple of weeks. So ever since I had C19 for 3 times, yeah. So it takes me a long time to get over a cold. So anyway, we forge on. Um, DJI has launched another company like nobody's gonna notice called Extra Edge, and they've been kind of, it's on Amazon. They've got the Extra Edge, which is comparable to the Osmo Action 4, and they've got the Extra Edge Pro, which is very similar to the Osmo Action 5 Pro. They're identical. Okay, they're not very similar. They're identical. The only thing they don't do, they don't have wireless mic capabilities yet. Now they may fix that with firmware. I'm not really sure. The whole kind of reason when I started with my two Osmo Action, the originals. These are still my kayak cameras because they do very, very well out in the hot sun and the heat, running all day. Never had one overheat. The other two, not so much. Especially the 4. The 5 doesn't seem to have as much problems, but I wouldn't trust it on a kayak because they don't sit really close enough where I can see them too good. I can tell if they're on or not, and that's about it. So if it were to overheat, I might just think it's a dead battery, and then we'd have to, pull over, change the battery. And so anyway, I don't trust those for that situation. And if something were to happen and I happen to lose one of these, which I've already done, um, it would hurt my feelings, but it wouldn't be as catastrophic as if I lost, say, the 5 Pro. So anyway, I have been waiting with bated breath all summer for the Osmo Action 6. It's supposed to have a better sensor. It's just supposed to be a lot better than the 5 Pro. Now, they haven't narrowed down the price, which is unusual for a camera that's getting ready to come out in 3 days. But that's okay. But I will show you the new Edge. I still have trouble with that name. Okay. So and I'm right in smack in the way. Okay, well, let's see if I can't move me. Can I move me? I don't know how to move me. Okay, well, I guess I'm not going to move me. So anyway, they're both $349. I'm right over the price tag um of the Osmo Action, so sorry about that. They're both $349. However, the extra has a coupon of $80, so right now it's $279. or I'm sorry, 269. So, but they're identical cameras. The Extra Edge Pro has the identical features to the Osmo Action 5 Pro, except for the microphone capabilities. So, what is DJI doing? Well, let me tell you. Oh, the other thing that is not transferable or whatever, DJI has what they call the Mimo app, which they have every DJI thing I have, and I have the microphones and the cameras, and they have in the Mimo app. So anytime you need to update, all you have to do is go to that one app, and it'll tell you what updates they have available for what product. Okay. The Edge does not use the Mimo app. So you have to download another app, which I'm not opposed to, but if it doesn't have the wireless mic capabilities, that kind of puts it out of the running for me. Now, they may be coming out with a mic that connects to the Edge. We don't know. But that was kind of my thing. So, I want to read you a little statement. And y'all know I have serious issues and probably need psychological help when it comes to stupid people. And this is one of the stupidest statements I have heard. Uh, you guys may not agree with me, and that's perfectly okay. Everybody is entitled to their opinion. But to me, this statement was just absurd. So bear with me, because I think it's important if I can get through this. Okay, it says DJI is not officially banned in the US, but faces significant restrictions due to national security and human rights concerns. Okay, I'm going to read the rest of this to you because it's not our national security they're talking about. The U.S. government suspects that DJI drones, not action cameras, drones, could collect sensitive data for the Chinese government and has accused the company of enabling human rights abuse in China. Okay? These concerns have led to an inability for new products to get FCC licenses and a de facto ban through import restrictions. Sounds like they're banned to me. With a full import ban looming if DJI doesn't receive official certification by the end of 2025. Okay. So there you have it. Make of it what you will. It doesn't say anything about action cameras. It's talking about drones. And it's not saying that DJI is doing anything wrong in the US, that the US suspects them of doing something wrong in China. I mean, really? Why? I don't get it. I don't get it. Okay. We're just going to leave it there. So now I am left with, what do I do? I mean, obviously I'm going to keep running the Action 5 until they don't support it anymore, and I can't. Because once they turn off that Mimo app, that's it. Camera will be locked out. So I've got a lot of money tied up in DJI stuff. I know I know one of our group, Bob, does drone photography. They're going to shut him down. Apparently, you can't even get a DJI drone if you're in the US. So I may have to take a vacation to another country. Buy me it. Because I think they're still going to launch the Osmo Action 6. It just may not be available in the States. The rest of the world doesn't seem to have a problem with DJI. In fact, China, their own country, doesn't seem to have a problem with them. It's just the US playing Mrs. Kravitz. I think that's just my take on it. Okay, so I'm gonna get off my rant. See who's here. Say hi to everybody. But that's kind of my rant for the night. and I've been kind of worked up about it all week, so I had to share it with you guys. I can't get out and go anywhere because I have the stupid cold and I don't want to spread the germs, but I can talk to you guys because I can't get you sick. Scott is the first one in. Thank goodness for YouTube reminders. Yes, indeedy. I have missed so many because I will have my phone on silent, and I have missed so many notifications that, yeah, I have to remember to turn my phone on where I can hear those notifications. And Roy made it in. He's talking to Scott, saying daylight savings keeps stuffing me up. So I don't think that we do daylight savings time until November, and it's always on a Saturday night. But I always like the fall because you gain an extra hour of sleep. So I always kind of like that. When I was working overnights, I never really paid attention to daylight savings time because I would work right through it. And so you would either have an extra hour of work or you'd lose an hour of work. But it didn't really ever affect my sleep schedule. So yeah, there was that. And Hal made it in from Florida. How are you doing, sir? Hi, all. Happy to have you. And Mookie is here. Hi, Mookie. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Mookie is probably at work. How he gets to watch YouTube at work, I don't know, but more power to you, buddy. And Roy is here. G'day, Sly, from a cold 20 degrees Celsius in Melbourne. Wow. Now, I thought you lived. Why did I think you lived somewhere else? No. Yes? Are you visiting Melbourne? Or I thought Jeff was from Melbourne and you were from Brisbane? Maybe? Maybe I have it backwards. I could. I could very well. Mhm. Cold medicine. Um, so 20 degrees is cold. Well, it's fall here and the temperatures are dropping and I get to sleep with the windows open, which is probably not good for my cold, but it makes the bedroom so nice and cold and you get snuggled up under the blankets. And this is like my favorite time of the year. Winter it's too cold, but in the fall or autumn, it's perfect because the nights are cool, the days are warm. Yeah, I'm loving this weather. I hate that I'm stuck inside. Scott says, "Oh, right. Messing with the clock drives me crazy. It's coming soon." I think it's maybe the first week in November, but I don't know that for a fact. So don't, yeah. Roy says, DJI probably hasn't provided a big enough bribe to the American government. Bingo! That's exactly it. That's, I mean, the the federal government, up until just like 3 months ago, was using DJI drones. They were the official government issue. And now you can't get a government contract if you're using DJI drones. So they're after something, and you always follow the money trail because I promise you, it always goes back to that. Everybody's greedy. Everybody wants, I'm hoping, and it won't happen. It doesn't matter how big of a soapbox I build to stand on. It there's not enough there's not enough voices to make a difference. So, I mean, I would love to see every DJI user in the US stand up and oppose this, especially for the action cameras. Do they really think that my little action camera is going to cause a breach in national security? Really? Most of what I shoot on it are either about bags or my 6-year-old. So, there's that. Scott says, I try to keep the window cracked open all the cool months. It gets, well, and Scott, you're even colder than I am. It gets too cold for me in the winter. And now, this time of year, I'm not talking cracked. We're full blown open, right? I keep the sliding glass door wide open. I keep the bedroom window wide open. Um, it's a good thing I'm in a safe neighborhood because, yeah, it's the front of the house wide open, and I love that breeze coming through, and I just snuggle under the blankets, and this is my absolute favorite time. Now, in the winter, I love to sit in front of a fire. but I don't crack the windows. And Scott is way up north, so he's a lot colder than I am. Or his area is a lot colder than here. Roy says, each country seems to change time on different dates. What is up with that? I don't really even know why we change time, other than it's supposed to give you more daylight hours. I mean, it is what it is, folks. If it gets dark at 8 o'clock, it gets dark at 8 o'clock. But everybody wants to be out later in the summer, and so they push the clocks around. And I guess in the winter they don't care. So it's like, it's dark most of the time anyway. We'll just change them back. I don't know why they even bother. There are some cities, not states, but some cities that don't even observe daylight savings time. And my hat is off to them. But unfortunately, here in Oklahoma, we observe daylight savings time. So, yeah, it is what it is. And I just kind of roll with it. That it's been that way my whole life. So I don't really buck that system too much. But when they start messing with my equipment, then I get a little bit upset. And, I mean, okay, Roy, you're a Nikon guy. What if Australia banned Nikon? I mean, I don't know why they would, but I don't know why the US would ban DJI either. That's if you had said that to me 3 years ago, I would have been like, "That ain't never gonna happen." And here it is, it's happening. So do I jump in and get the extra Edge Pro? I really wanna see what's gonna happen Friday and see if they launch it. I think they will launch it. I just don't know if they'll launch it in the US. So, apparently, we're the only country that has issues with the rest of the world. So, I may have to take a trip somewhere and come back with an Osmo Action 6. But even though I could get the camera, I'm not sure it would work in the States. It may not read the app right depending on location, which really doesn't make a lot of sense because let's say you live in France and the Osmo 6 makes its debut on Friday and you're in France and you buy one and you download your Mimo app in France in French and then you take a vacation to the United States. Does that mean your camera's not going to work? See, I think we should be so far past singling out other countries. It's one big world, folks. We all kind of need to play together in the same sandbox. That's just my opinion, but uh, it is what it is. Scott says 47 degrees and my window is letting a bit of fresh air in. It's raining too, so nice clean air. So I have a little frame out in the backyard and I have been hanging up my laundry because it smells ridiculously good, right? So much better than any dryer sheet or anything like that. So I've been hanging my sheets out on this little frame out in the backyard. And yesterday was real windy. Great day for drying out stuff. Probably not a great day for me to be outside because I'm sure it was blowing around a lot of stuff. But anyway, so I'm out there and I think I did this last week. So I set my jeans and my shirts and everything, and they smell so good. And I forgot because the jeans weren't dry. So I was just gonna leave them out a little bit longer. And I forgot about them. And it rained. And it rained the next day. And long story short, I ended up having to rewash the jeans because the rain was not as clean as you think. So, but yes, I agree with you when it's raining. The rain, it like charges the air or something and it just smells really good. So, yes, I love the rain too, but not when it's getting my clean clothes wet again. Yeah. But that was my fault because I forgot about them. Roy says, I love DJI drones, but not happy having to sign up to use them. That really doesn't bother me. You do it one time. And so, like, Which one was it? I think it was the 5 that I got a heck of a deal on because the guy that bought it didn't know you had to have the app. And so it will record, it's like 5 or 10 or something, a little 5-second or 10-second videos before it shuts off. And because this has onboard recording, all of that was still in the camera. So I got to see it. And I mean, he literally opened the box as soon as he walked out of Best Buy, tried to work the camera, kept trying, was getting more frustrated, took it back into Best Buy and returned it. So it had been turned on a few times, but basically it was a brand new camera and I got it for a heck of a deal. So I love Best Buy's open box things. So yeah, but as soon as I did turn it on, and because I was within proximity of my phone, it immediately connected. I didn't have to do anything. Same thing with the microphones. As soon as I open the when I first got them, as soon as I open it and turn one on, it immediately connected to the Mimo app. So it's yeah, okay. I can kind of agree. That was kind of why I didn't go with a GoPro, was because you had to buy their um I think it was like you got the first year subscription free, and then if you wanted to continue to use your camera, you had to pay for a subscription. I didn't like that. DJI is free, the Mimo app is free, and I think now GoPro is too, but I was already in the DJI ecosystem, and I mean, imagine if Apple does something like that. If the powers that be decide that Apple is a threat to national security, um, I'm in a lot of trouble because I'm heavily invested in the Apple ecosystem. So, sorry guys, my eyes are just terrible. It's been an ongoing thing. I'm used to it now. And about the time I do, I'll get over it. Roy says, my watch still hasn't realized the time has changed. When the time changed last time, I only have one clock in the house that is analog. Everything else is updates, right? So even my TV, as soon as you turn it on for the first time after the time change, it updates. Computers automatically update. So it really wasn't a thing. Even my truck updated, which I've never had a car that automatically updated the clock, but this one does. So that was kind of cool. Roy says American politics are totally unpredictable. Yes, yes, they are. And but you're right, Roy. Everything comes back to money. And apparently DJI has upset somebody and hasn't paid them enough money. And so we're not going to play nice and we're going to take your FCC licensing away. That's just Mookie says I excuse me, I think the looming ban on DJI is for drones only. DJI has opted to possibly withhold other products in the US as a way of exerting pressure to have the possible drone ban removed. If that's true, uh, more power to them. Okay. But I think by them dropping the Extra Edge Pro, and they also have an Extra Edge that has all the same stuff as the 4, it just still doesn't have that wireless mic. Um, and it's priced comparable to the Osmo Action 4. It's the same body. It's the same lens. Everything on the camera is exactly the same. So, like I have cages on my cameras, which I love because I have dropped these before. Yeah, on purpose, obviously. But I have screen protectors on the lens and both screens. And when I dropped, I think it was I don't know if it was the 4 or the 5, I don't remember. I thought I had cracked the lens, which is not a big deal because you can buy these. They're like 30, 35 bucks, something like that. So it's not like the end of the world if you break the cover. It just unscrews. It comes off. You can buy these. So I was mad at myself, but it was like, it'd be all right. Well, when after I started investigating the damage I had done, uh, the cage protected the camera flawlessly, but the lens was the lens was cracked. Well, when I started investigating it, and I immediately went on Amazon to see about a replacement and yada yada, it was the screen protector that cracked. The lens was absolutely fine. And I have extras. I always get, I think they come in a 2 or 3 pack or something. And I always have extras so that if something does happen, I can just slap a new one on. And that's what I did and went on about my merry way and everything was cool. But I don't know because how long are they going to keep the Memo app up and running if they can't sell their equipment here? So Roy says, Apple is safe, already provided their bribe. I'm sure. I'm sure that, these ultra big companies like Apple, they know the game. They know how to grease palms. And it's all about money. I'm 100% convinced that it's all about money. But, I personally as a consumer, I don't want to have to pay an extra 100 or 200 so that DJI can pay my government to let me buy a product. That just kind of doesn't sit well with me. But yes, it's don't even get me started because I should live somewhere else probably and take my family with me. But it is what it is. Um there was something else. That was like my soapbox. Um oh, I did want to ask you guys because I travel a bit, and when I do, I'm kind of set in my ways. So I always take a checked bag. There are like different tiers when you buy your ticket. There's different tiers you can buy, and I always buy the high tier. And so I get to pick my seat, and I get to take a checked bag, and I get all and I get to board the plane first. I get priority boarding and all this stuff. Well, my daughter took a trip, and she travels completely different than I do. And so I kind of wanted your guys' opinion because as you get older, you don't want to carry things through an airport. You don't want to carry things, period, right? So I take a checked bag and a backpack, and the backpack fits under the seat in front of me. Okay. Now, she had a checked bag that was absolutely huge. Well, then she also had this little hard-sided carry-on that she put in the overhead bin. And then she just took a sling bag. Okay, no backpack. Now, when she got to her destination, she ended up buying a backpack. So, there's that. But coming home, she put the sling bag in the backpack. And so the backpack became her personal item. And then she had her carry on that went in the overhead bin. Now, one of the reasons I don't like to carry on is one, I'm not keen on hard sided luggage to start with. It doesn't squish nicely when you travel, like, not in an airplane. So do you all have, like, your airplane luggage and then your car luggage? I know, like Jim Monday, I think he mostly travels by airplane. So I'm just kinda curious, do you like soft-sided, hard-sided? The reason I like soft-sided is because you can squish it in places, okay? Um And so my backpack it's a travel backpack, but it's squishable. And so you can put it under the seat. Now mine doesn't happen to be that big, so there's plenty of room for the bag and my feet. Okay. I know some of them get kind of big, but uh yeah, mine's not that big. It what I carry in my backpack is all my electronics and one change of clothes. Just in case something were to happen and my carry-on didn't make it on the plane or something. There is that. But they did have to change flights 3 times. And so they were a little bit worried about their luggage making it back in one at the same time they did, but it was fine. Everything worked out fine. They had a wonderful trip, but I was just curious because when I drive, I still take Squishy, but I don't take the same backpack because typically when I drive, I take a padded, um, it's made by, I think you say it Thule, and it's like a briefcase, and all my electronics go in there, and I just put that in the back of my truck. I mean, it's totally different. I take a duffel bag instead of a hard-sided or a big suitcase. I just take a duffel bag, and it has worked very, very well for me. But I really hadn't considered hard-sided, and she absolutely will never go soft-sided. She had such a good experience with the hard-sided that she'll never go soft-sided. And there is a generation gap, and so I was just wondering, I don't like to use the overhead bin because I'm short, and so I usually would have to ask somebody to get it up there for me. Now, she's the same height as I am, but she's 33 years younger, and she can, pop up 30 or 40 pounds, whereas I would probably struggle with that. So, um, yeah, I know a lot of you guys do travel some. I don't know if you travel by air or car. And does it make a difference? Do you take different bags when you travel differently? I've never been on a train, so I don't know what I would pack for a train, but I would like to. And Mr. Lazuka has made it in the house. Hello, Sly and friends. Love you all. Love you too, Lewis. How you doing, bud? I'm glad you made it. I haven't seen you in a minute. Let me get this off of here. Eh, it's annoying me. And I'll turn this on. There we go. Okay. Um, so that's kind of my spiel. I did kind of want to know what you guys use. Um, and to remind you guys, would you guys hit the thumbs up button for me? Let's see some thumbs go up, up, up. Um, it's free. So yeah, that was kind of my thing. I got kind of upset when I saw that uh the Osmo Action 6 may not drop Friday, because I have been waiting all summer. And honestly, if they're having issues, I may wait until January and see if DJI pulls out completely. It makes me a little bit nervous to buy a 6 and then they like just shut everything off. So I don't know. I think it would be, I know like their main thing is drones. I get that. But if, and the Mimo app is for drones too. So if they shut that off, would it make my Action 6 void where I couldn't use it? So I don't know. That's kind of my only concern, because I was ready. I was gonna wait like a week and then pull the trigger. I've been saving my pennies. I'm ready. I'm sitting on go. It's supposed to have a bigger sensor. It's supposed to they've fixed the uh the contrast on it. Uh which when they updated the 5, it helped a lot. But the 6 is just supposed to, because it has a bigger sensor, so it's just supposed to be better in low light, just everything about it. So I have not been able to find uh, where they actually tell you what the lens is on the extra edge. Um, but in reviews that I've watched of people that have already bought one, it looks identical. So there was a pretty good difference between the original and the 4. I did one of those tests, and that with the 4, it seemed like I was a lot closer up. and the colors were not as good. So, I have never tested, well, I've never uploaded a video. I have tested the 4 and 5 together, and there is a noticeable difference, but primarily it was in, like, the depth of field. So, um, not something you would notice if you only saw one or the other. But if you saw them side by side, it was pretty obvious. So, Roy says, "The last trip, the airline didn't let me put my carry-on under the seat." Okay, so carry-ons typically go in the overhead bin and your personal item goes under the seat. So there's three different bags. There's checked bag, which is the biggest, carry-on, which is kind of a medium size, and then your personal item, which has to go under the seat. So my personal item, see if I can scoot over one way or the other, is that bag right there. It's 28 liters, it's squishy, and it fits under the seat, and there is room for my feet beside of it because it's kind of, I don't know if you can tell, but it's kind of skinny, like this way. And so it fits under the seat, and there's room on the side of it for my feet. So, and it's got a pocket so I can get to stuff that I need while I'm on the plane, and it just works really, really well. Now, my daughter was thinking that she could put everything in her sling bag, and so she didn't need another bag down on the floor. Well, when she got to her destination, she found out that she might need a backpack. So I did offer. I told her, I've got like 80 backpacks. Pick one. And she's, no, I'm not going to take a backpack. I'll just take a sling bag. And she did find out that she did kind of need a backpack. So, um, there is that. Not that I'm like, I haven't been around the world. I've only been out of the country 2 or 3 times. And so I'm not really what you'd call a seasoned traveler. I just know kind of what works for me. And she had bought me this really, really nice garment bag that folded into a duffel. And I had to carry that. And it seems like my terminal is always the very last in the airport. From where you check in, it's always the very last terminal. And then if you change flights, you go from the last terminal because that's where you land, and the connecting flight will be like on the other side of the airport. So, uh, I had trouble carrying the and it was really nice and fancy, and I like it. I just couldn't carry it. So, maybe if you only had, like, a couple of clothes or something, a couple of outfits in there, maybe, but I had, like, electronic stuff and it was way too heavy. So, yeah, on the return trip, everything went in the backpack. So, I can carry a backpack for quite a while, but carrying something in my hand or even over, like, one shoulder, where you're kinda doing the duffel walk where you waddle through the airport, not really my thing. So, but yeah, uh, your carry-on should have gone up above. Roy says, "The worst thing about flying is having someone else in the driving seat." Amen, brother. It's one of those things, though, that I don't know how to fly a plane, and so you're very much at the mercy of hoping this guy who's driving got a good night's sleep, had breakfast before you took off, had enough coffee that he's awake. You know, you're very, very much at the mercy of someone else. And so for the next 2.5, 3, 4 hours, you might as well go take a nap because otherwise, I'm not a good flyer. I worry about everything. Is an engine going to catch fire? We're up over like the Rocky Mountains. Not a good place to land. So in my perfect flying world, everything would be flat so that if you did have a malfunction, you could land anywhere. But, usually if I fly, I'm flying over the Rocky Mountains, going west. Not the best. Yeah, especially for a nervous flyer. Roy says, "I don't have personal items other than my camera gear." Well, yeah, your camera backpack would be considered a personal item, and that's supposed to go under the seat. Now, when I flew 2 times ago out to Vegas, I took one of my M6s and two lenses. I think I just took 2. But I put them in I took the battery out of the camera, and I put them in one of those Timba, um, they're called BYOBs, and they're like inserts for a backpack, and so it really protected everything, and I put that in my checked luggage because I have 2 of those cameras, and if I lost one, yes, I would be unhappy, but it wouldn't be the complete end of the world, okay? They're kind of expensive, so I'd be unhappy, but, uh, everything else, like my little Osmo Actions, they just ride with me because they're not very big, and they don't take up a lot of room, and they're not very heavy, and I ended up, taking some shots out the airplane window, and instead of pulling out, a obvious camera, you can just pull out one of these, nobody really pays attention to you, and then you can, you know, be a threat to national security. Sarcasm. Yes. And Flying Toast made it in. How are you, Toast? Hello, all. I'm busy tonight, so I can't stay, but I want to drop in and say hi. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for dropping in. Hey, hit that thumbs up button while you're here. Um, Glad to see you, bud. And I'm not, I'm sorry you're busy, but you can watch it on the replay because I kind of went on a rant tonight. Yeah, I don't normally do that, but I rarely feel as strongly about something as I do this. And I just think it's stupid. And I have a problem with stupid. So there you go. Um, yeah, that's kind of I really need to work on that because there's a lot of stupid things going on in the world, and they just kind of upset me. So uh, one of the and I think I mentioned this last week is supposedly there was all this rioting in Seattle, maybe, and the president sent in the National Guard. I think it was Seattle. Uh, Anyway, my daughter went there, and when she told me where she was going, I'm like, "Oh, let's not do that. There's, National Guard all over the city," and and it turned out it was a bunch of guys and gals in, costumes, like teddy bears and frogs, and they were blowing bubbles. But it was a protest for something, but they were not angrily protesting. And everybody was getting along. There was no fighting, and she said it was a hoot. It was like kind of like Mardi Gras in New Orleans, but uh, every, it was cold, and so everybody was kind of dressed up in these little fun furry outfits and blowing bubbles at each other. So not sure what they were protesting, but apparently the president felt like we needed the National Guard there, and she said that was so overblown, and she was there. So there's that. And Toast says I'll definitely watch the replay. Yeah, I don't get on a rant very often, so that's not something that you'll typically see, but this really uh, it's really got to me. It's really bothered me. I don't know, like I said, if they would work outside of the country, if they would still work in the US, I have no problem going to another country and buying one. But my fear is that once I get back here, and so I don't think they'll turn off the Mimo app for the rest of the world, but they may very well turn it off for the States. And that's kind of my fear. So, so if I have to switch gears, I don't know what I'll go with because I really feel like the Osmo Action, because of its wireless mic capabilities, um, is the best suited for my needs. They may keep it on for like a year or two, So it's not like I have to make a decision today or next week. But if if the government bans them, eventually I'm going to have to make a decision and switch all my gear for something else. And from what I've heard, GoPro hasn't released a new model this year. So they may be, you know, I don't know. They may be phasing out. I can't imagine they would be because they're kind of like the gold standard. But, everybody calls action cameras, whether they're DJI or not, everybody calls these GoPros. Well, that kind of says something. It's kind of like Levi's. In a lot of different parts of the country, people refer to blue jeans as Levi's, even if they're Wranglers or Aeropostale or whoever makes jeans. In those parts of the country, they're still called Levi's. Kind of like a lot of different parts of the country call a soda a Coke, regardless if it's Dr. Pepper or Sprite or root beer. You want a Coke? Not meaning, do you actually want a Coke product? Do you want a soda drink? But they'll say, do you want a Coke? So I kind of found that out when I traveled up north. They call a water fountain a bubbler, which was kind of cute. But, and a submarine sandwich is a hoagie. So, they just, different parts of the country just have different words for things. And so the action cameras are called GoPros, even if they're not. Well, Insta360 makes an action camera. I'm not thrilled with it, but it's out there. And apparently this ban seems to only be on DJI. So I may be like Lewis. I may be asking you guys which one do I get next? If all my DJI stuff peters out in 2 years, what am I going to get next? So, anyway, Roy says, I stick with Nikon or Nikon, however you say it, because it's never let me down and I know it so well. I guess I'd go Hasselblad or GFX if I had to. So, I'll have to take a drink, guys. I'm so sorry. But you wouldn't want to. And that's kind of my point is I can switch gears and go with something else. I don't want to. The reason I went with DJI is because after all the research I did, that was the one that best fit me. So, I mean, even with the original action camera, which is near and dear to my heart, these little things are still the bomb diggity. Will they do everything that the 4 and 5 do? No, absolutely not. They're also it's not just the Osmo action cameras that are on the line here. The Pocket 3 is on the line too. And they have come out with one called an Extra Muse, which is identical to the Pocket 3 except for the microphone. So you have to plug a microphone in, which I can. The little transmitter is so tiny and it comes with a USB-C, so you can plug this directly into, I think you have to take this little case off. I never use this ever because as soon as, like, see if I can get one where you can see it. Okay, so as soon as that blue light starts flashing, as soon as I turn the camera on, it pairs automatically. I don't have to do anything. I like that. It's easy. All I have to do is stick this on my little thing. As soon as I turn the camera on, it pairs up. And I'm good to go. I can start recording almost instantly. And I like that. So I don't want to have to get this out. And another thing is when you hook that little receiver to the camera, you have to take this little door off. And now the camera's not waterproof. So I'm just saying, uh, because I have had this particular camera go into a pond a time or two. Now, hadn't hurt it at all because it's waterproof. I have all the doors on and everything, and so no harm, no foul. But if I had to put the camera's receiver on here, now the camera's not waterproof. So just, just there you go. Carlos made it. Hi, Slay. Hey, everyone. Hey, I went on a rant tonight. Sorry. I don't normally do this, but it needed to be said. Okay. I just don't deal well with stupid people. Roy says, I'm still learning to speak American. Well, good luck with that, because there are so many parts of the country that talk different. Louisiana is very French influenced, and Cajun. And so I have a hard time understanding them. The Deep South, they have a lovely accent, but they do use some words that we don't use in Oklahoma. So, yeah. Roy says there are bans on a few Chinese brands. Oh. Um, so I would assume the Asako, I think that's how you say it, which is supposed to be a decent budget action cam, would probably be banned. Um, I don't know. The only research I did was on DJI. So, if you've bought a $50 action camera, okay. There's a bunch of them out there. A bunch of them. They're not very good quality, and they don't do near the things that my little Action 5 Pro does. But would I be upset if they banned something that was, under $50? Yeah, probably not. Yeah, I would just use it until I couldn't use it anymore, and then it would be like, yeah, oh well, not a big deal. But um, Carlos says, same here, Roy. He's still learning to speak American. Yeah, well, it is what it is. Uh, I'm selling my house to a guy who English is not his native language. And so we're working through it. He understands enough uh because I don't speak very, very little Spanish, not very much at all. Guacamole and rodeo and, burrito, things like that. But um and so we're working through it, but he's very, very good natured, and he's putting up with this old lady a lot. So kudos to him. Roy says Qatar was banned and donated a luxury jumbo jet. Now they get a military base within America. I told you, it all comes back to the money. Now, DJI may be digging their heels in and saying, we're just not going to do it. And because they will lose a lot of money if they lose U.S. customers. So, but it probably won't break them. To be honest with you, people that in America that think that we are the end all to be all, you're wrong. We are not. Yeah, we're a big country, but there's a whole rest of the world out there. So, we would probably take a chunk out of their profits, but we're not going to close the company down, in my opinion. I mean, you've got the entire rest of the world. So I think I won't say we're a small fish. We're kind of one of the big fishes, but I don't think we're the only fish in the pond. So Shane made it in. I missed the rant. Yeah, sorry. I just yeah, it's about DJI. So I think Shane, you shoot with Panasonic. And so it would be like if Australia banned Panasonic. You're pretty immersed in the Panasonic ecosystem. And really, all you guys, Roy is immersed in Nikon or however you say it in Australia. Um, you build up your lenses. You might get a new camera, but you keep your lenses in that ecosystem. And so if somebody were to say, "Oh, we can't sell that in your country anymore. It upsets me. So y'all know. Carlos says, anyone here of the Pocket 3 clone Extra Muse? That's kind of what we were talking about, Carlos, is the Extra Edge, which is taking the place of the 4 and 5, except the Extra Edge and the Extra Edge Pro and the Extra Muse don't have wireless mic capabilities. So they don't pair up, even though everybody thinks that it's a new DJI company. Uh, they don't use the Mimo app and they don't pair up with the other DJI equipment. And so, I have been waiting all summer for the Action 6 to come out. They're going to release it Friday. Had my pennies all saved. I was ready to pull the trigger on Action 6, and now I'm nervous about it. So I probably will wait until the first of the year and just see what happens. Um, I think, I mean, I hate to jump off and buy one and then in a year or 2 years they say, we're not going to support that anymore. Now, y'all will probably say it's not that expensive. Just go ahead and get it while you can get one. And that is good reasoning. I do have everything that goes with that camera. Uh, so, at I think it's going to be like under $600. Is it worth not getting one? To me, it's kind of like, okay, you're going to spend the money to get it, and then it may not be viable in a couple of years. Are you really going to miss the initial investment in 2 years if you get to use it for 2 years? I don't know. It's just one of those things where, but yes, the Pocket 3 clone, the Extra Muse, is the Extra is the new company that is, I don't want to say replacing DJI, but kind of, I think it's like their ghost company. It's still DJI, but they're just rebranding things as Extra. And the Pocket 3 is now called the Muse. Um, their menu system, like the action cameras, it's called Rocksteady, and on the Extra, it still does the same thing, but it's called something different. Their menu system is not in the same order, which is not a big deal for me because typically I kind of set my camera and it 90% of the time it does fine. For some reason, I had put one of the cameras on Zoom and forgot. And so I had a whole when I recorded the Great Wolf Lodge, the whole video was in Zoom, and so it's really close up on my face, but that's okay. I'm still editing that one. Shane saying hey to Carlos. Roy says most of the world banned American beef because of mad cow disease and lack of tracking its origins. Yeah, see. So, uh, Carlos is talking to Shane saying, hey, brother, hope all is well. I'm glad you're here, Shane. I'm glad everybody's here. Uh, yeah, y'all just kind of, I can't really rant about this to anybody else because my kids would just go, get over it. You guys kind of would understand a little bit more. I know you're not really into the whole action camera thing, but uh, just just the ability and how easy they have made it to pair up stuff. That's what I love about it. And I can have the microphone hooked up, be filming us out fishing, and little man wants to use the camera and into the pond it goes. I don't have to sweat it because there's nothing hooked onto the camera. The microphone's wireless. So until I can find a system that does that, maybe I'll have to buy a new mic and a new brand of camera, and that's fine. But until I can find a system that works together, that was kind of a huge coup for DJI, is that Now the original mics do not have that capability, but the Mic 2, the Mic Mini, and the new Mic 3 will all connect wirelessly to uh, anything that has Bluetooth. So I can use this mic instead of this mic. It doesn't sound as good, obviously, but if I did like a whole live stream in it, you guys would know I was on a different mic, but somebody who's not here every week probably wouldn't. So yeah, there is that too. Shane says, "You too, mate. Thanks." I just love how you Aussies talk. I love going to the South because I love their accent. They do not talk like we do in Oklahoma. They have a very strong accent, and I can't recreate it. So, uh, but yeah, if you ever come to the United States, you definitely need to visit the Deep South, and it's just they're a joy to listen to. Up in the Northeast, they talk very, very different. Everything is kind of clipped a little bit, and California, they have their own little accent. You can kind of I can tell when I'm talking to somebody what part of the country they're from by the way they talk. So, uh, I can get a real hillbilly slang when I want to, because Oklahoma Okies typically they sound like Okies, you know. So, uh, but it's kind of interesting, and I'm sure Australia is the same way. You guys have different dialects, probably based on where you live. So, yeah. So, Roy, are you on vacation, or do you live in Melbourne? Because I really thought you were in maybe Jeff's in Brisbane and you're in Melbourne. Roy says I visit B and H and I'd visit B and H in Adorama, New York first. Yes, yes, I would love to go to B and H. They're just kind of like a candy store for camera nerds. I mean, they have a little bit of everything. When my daughter was on vacation, she stopped into a camera store, and I don't know if she was in Seattle or Portland or where she was, but uh, not as big as B&H, but they had a ton of stuff. It was really kind of cool. She sent me a video and of the bag wall, and I was telling her what bags they were, and she's like, "How do you know that?" I'm like, "I don't know. I just kind of do." So, I have recently gotten into kind of different bags. Um, so I'm gonna see how they work for me before I really do videos on them because I don't know. I haven't really had bags like this before, and so yeah, you guys will see it first. Obviously, I'm gonna show you guys my Tuesday night guys first. Um, and it just I don't know, even though I'm on Tuesday, it just seems like we're a Friday night group. Okay. But yeah, I get that. Roy says I'm retiring to Melbourne. So you live in Brisbane? I don't know. One of these nights I'm gonna have to pull up an Australia map and see where you guys live. Roy says 2 years ago we downsized to a house in the hills next to a national forest. Well, that's cool. We have uh what are they called? Core land? Where well, it's usually around lakes and stuff, rivers, lakes. Uh, you can buy up to the core has an easement, and so you really want to buy a property that backs up to core land because you'll never have anybody behind you. So, yeah, that's kind of cool. So you can see where the deer and the antelope and the koalas play, and the kangaroos. I still want to see a kangaroo one day. Not to get in a fight with him. I've seen those on Facebook, and those things look pretty fierce. But I think if you didn't bother them, they probably wouldn't bother you. Roy says, I used to live in many places. See, I really haven't. I've pretty much lived within a 60-mile radius probably my whole life. Um, I've lived in several different houses, but it's all been, if you stuck a pin in it, it would all be within a 60-mile radius, but I love to travel. So I'm going to do more of that coming up, and which means another plane ride, you know, but I'll survive. It'll be all right. Carlos, when are you coming to Oklahoma? Um, he's coming about 2 hours away from me, so I definitely will make the drive over to see him. Roy says only male roos fight during mating season. Ah, okay. Well, this one had hold of a dog, and the owner of the dog uh, went up because obviously the kangaroo was a lot bigger, and the owner of the dog went up and like punched it because it had its arms wrapped around the dog, so it couldn't really do anything. And it was hard enough that the kangaroo made the drop the dog and then went after the man. But that was kind of a provoked thing. So I don't want to provoke them. I just want to take some pictures of them. So, but guys, my rant is over. I feel much better now that I've been able to kind of verbalize my thoughts on stupid people. And I hope you, when I read that, I did put a sway on how I interpreted it. Um, and to me, that just sounds completely stupid. So, you know. Anyway, guys, Roy says, I've seen most of the world, but I picked Australia to retire. Well, that says something about Australia. I hope y'all have better government than we do here in the States. But, um, is what it is, right? Guys, until next week, um, I don't think I have anything going on. No, because Halloween is on Friday. So I will be trick or treating with someone on Friday, a week from Friday. But, and my son is taking a trip. I think he's flying over the Rockies. He's going to Colorado. So I'm going to get him ready. He will let me pack for him because he's a male and he doesn't like packing. He just wants to get there and do his thing, which I think he's going to a couple concerts or something. And so that's what's on his mind. He could care less about the logistics of getting how he's going to get his clothes there. He just wants to get from point A to point B and have fun and then come back. I Boys are so much easier than girls. So I will go over and he will set out what he wants to take, and then I'll put them all in the packing cubes and put them all in the backpack, and off he goes. It's great. So anyway, I did find something that I want to share with you tonight. Nothing is more powerful than prayer, and nothing is stronger than faith, and nothing is greater than God. So with that, I'm going to say good night. I wish y'all a great week, and I'll see y'all next week. Good night, everybody.